Meet Codename Goose, your on-machine open-source AI agent, built to automate your tasks. Codename Goose is an intelligent and autonomous agent capable of handling complex tasks thanks to its core features. Connect with apps and tools you already use with extensions. Built on the Model Context Protocol, you can connect to extensions like GitHub, integrate JetBrains IDEs, access Google Drive, or build your own custom integrations for Goose. For a curated list of extensions, visit our docs. With a wide range of compatible large language model providers, you can choose and integrate your preferred model. You can also run Goose as a desktop app or through the command line interface using the same configurations across both. You can think of Goose as an assistant, ready to take your instructions and do the work for you. Able to handle a wide range of tasks across various engineering domains. Here are examples of tasks Goose has helped people with already. Goose has helped dive into a new project in an unfamiliar coding language, conduct code migrations such as Ember to React or Ruby to Kotlin, increase code coverage, and even generate unit tests for a feature, and much more. To get started using Goose right away, check out our Quick Start and be the first to know about upcoming features by joining our community.
Hey everyone. Oh, whoa, I'm super big. I'm gonna add Dustin so I can not be as big. Hey everyone. My name is Roselle Scarlett and you're watching Goosing Around. So today we're talking about Goose, we're talking about Tavily, Model Context Protocol, knowledge graphs. And if it sounds super intimidating, don't worry. I love to take things from like a beginner perspective and then increasingly get like more advanced. So this live stream will be for all so stay tuned in. And if you're like, what is Goose? I never really heard of it. It's an open source AI agent that's on your machine and it helps you to automate engineering tasks. But you can automate other daily tasks as well with it. And one example of that we're going to talk about today is pairing Goose with Tavily's MCP to do research on the web. And we'll show you different variations and examples. So before I dive into all the tech stuff, Dustin, I got a question for you. Sometimes I ask a little icebreaker. Sometimes I'm like, what's your favorite season? But this one is a little bit more it's not your favorite season or anything. Okay, so I don't know how this is gonna go, but like don't judge me. So let's say your friends, they're planning like some kind of trip or a hangout. There's usually like two different types of people. The person that when the hangout date comes, they're like, I don't really want to go anymore. I hope they cancel it. Or there's the person that's like planning out the entire itinerary. They're like, at 10 a.m. we're gonna ride this roller coaster. Like, I don't know. So which one do you think you are?
I am definitely the planner. My roommates in university would make fun of me because I would always tell them what to do. So I love planning. I love doing things, and I'm definitely more the planner.
Awesome. And I want to know from the audience too, if you think you're the planner or the person that wants it to cancel. You know what? We need people like you that's planning out everything. I usually default to the person that wants it to be canceled. Like people are like, oh, hold on, I'm gonna be late. I have a flat tire. I'm like, oh, so you want to cancel? We can cancel. It's okay. I get excited in the moment, but then I get, yeah, but we need people like you to plan out the event or else it's going to fall flat. All right. Tell us what you do, what you're passionate about, and of course, your name too.
Sure. Yeah. So I am Dustin from Tavily. I am an engineer here, and I love all AI things and also love sports outside of work. But I'm passionate about a lot of things, and especially what we're doing here at Tavily.
Awesome. AI and sports. That's a good balance. All right.
Yeah.
What is Tavily? What problem does it solve for folks who are like, I've never heard of it before?
Yeah, so Tavily, for most people, it's more than just a search engine. Tavily is the web infrastructure for AI agents.
Mhm.
So Tavily provides the infrastructure layer for AI agents to interact with the web, and especially at scale. Our infrastructure would consist of a web access layer, processing layer, security and compliance layer, and then also performance optimization layer. So unlike traditional search engines like Google or Bing, these are designed for humans, and this is sort of what we're always normally seeing with search engines. But Tavily is built for agentic automation. It offers search, extraction, crawling, and retrieval in a single API call. And so people have always been interfacing, or I guess more and more have been interfacing more with LLMs instead of search indexes. And so agents will be the bridge between people and the answers they need. And to do this, agents will need infrastructure to traverse the web. And this is the problem that we solve. So you could think of us the bridge between agents, humans, and search indexes.
Okay, I like that. I like that in summary. You're the bridge between agents, humans, and search indexes. I love that. I want to say hi to Angie in the chat, and also Tanya was on answering one of our questions. She's kind of bit the boat. She'll do, but for super insensitive stuff, she would want it to get canceled. Okay, so now that you described that, I do want to show a quick video of using Tavily with Goose, so that people get context. And this was made by my wonderful coworker Ace.
Want to use Goose to research up-to-date relevant information about a topic on the internet? Here's how to plug and play. Let's provide Goose with the commands to use the Tavily web search extension and your API key as an environment variable. Now let's play. Hey Goose, I'm getting ready for a meeting and I need to generate a report. Find the latest news, social media sentiment, and key developments about codename Goose in the past week using Tavily. Goose is able to gather the latest and comprehensive information by searching the news and the web to successfully generate our report for us. Thanks, Goose. Get started with Goose at blog.github.io/Goose.
Okay, awesome. So I hope that gave people context. Also, hey Ace, we just played your video. All right. Okay, you gave me like a rundown of what Tavily is, like what it solves. But I think I heard you saying how it was different than a Google search engine, but it was a lot of information. So could you maybe like break it down a little bit more of how this is different than just scraping Google for search results?
Sure. So unlike traditional, let's say Google search engines, or some people call them SERPer-like tools, those tools or engines return less detailed and less relevant information specifically for agentic use. So in most cases, those would return maybe the title, URL, and then a short snippet from each result. And so generally, this isn't enough context for an LLM or an agent to extract the relevant information from the source. So we will return more robust results, including raw content. So for each URL or source, we extract all of the raw content from that website. We also can extract images. We provide LLM generated answers. We re-rank the results, provide a relevancy score, and there's much more. So we provide a lot more detail than your average search engine. And then we also do some cool AI tricks in the background. We optimize your queries to ensure the proper questions are being asked, potentially using iterative search or query expansion. So there's a lot behind the hood, which can provide the agents and LLMs with much more detailed sources and content.
Wow. Okay. So you guys bring more relevance when searching for different things on the web. I actually, this is not a question I wrote down, but as you were talking, I was like, you know what? Search engines have started to give more and more irrelevant information. And I think they're trying to like offset it with some of like the AI generated summaries at the top. But I'm curious if you, I mean, maybe you don't know this, but do you have any theories or understanding of why search engines are like giving less relevant results nowadays?
I mean, maybe it's just because we're used to, like I said earlier, people are interacting with LLMs a lot more, and every day becomes more ingrained in our life. And so maybe we're used to seeing the answer come up right away. When you're talking to ChatGPT, you see the answer come up right away. And so when you just search Google, you're seeing a bunch of blue URLs, and it seems annoying, and you got to find the right one. So it seems less relevant than an LLM answer.
I think that's a good point because I feel like back in the day before AI, I wasn't bothered by it, but now I'm like, I'm not getting the answer right away, pissing me
Exactly.
off.
Yeah,
Tanya said the re-rank results are super useful when researching niche and complex topics. That's what she's found so far. So
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So also another thing, I think I'm gonna ask you, or I plan to ask you about like why you made an MCP server for Tavily, but I want to take a little bit of a step back. MCPs are like super hot right now. Everybody's talking about them on like Twitter and whatever social media, and people are like, what is it? So I'm curious, like if you, I know what it is, but just for the audience, like, do you, will you be up for the challenge to describe what MCP is? But if I was a 5-year-old, you're like
um,
5 years old. You gave me a list of questions.
yeah, I know. I can do my best.
Yeah.
An MCP server. First of all, the name is quite confusing. So for a 5-year-old, they wouldn't know what that means. Um, it's a set of rules that describe a tool to an LLM. So the MCP server basically just describes how different tools work so that chatbots like ChatGPT can know how to use them properly. It's probably not good for a 5-year-old, but that's my best shot.
it's, it's good for like lower level. That's all I
Sure,
want. Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Because sometimes I ask people to describe something. I'm like, what's model context protocol? And they're like, well, it's model. Like they just use the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
I'm like, okay. So now why did you, I believe you told me that you're the one that created the Tavily MCP server. So why did you end up creating that? What value does it bring for Tavily?
Yeah, so I mean, it's another way of using Tavily. So we have different ways of using Tavily. We have a Python package, a JavaScript package, and our API endpoint. So the MCP server is just another way of using Tavily.
Okay.
As you said, it's become a very popular thing, and the one of the benefits of MCP servers is that it's very easy to integrate, even for people with less coding background. So it makes the, I guess, barrier of entry for people with less experience smaller. So it's a good way to just expose people to the Tavily tool. And another really cool thing about it is that you can use multiple MCP servers together. So it's easy to integrate multiple MCPs to complete complex tasks, which usually would be a hard task even for someone with coding background. But the MCP makes it easy to, and you'll see in our demo later today, to just interact different tools and let the LLMs do its work.
I love that, especially what you said about combining different MCP servers. Goose is also an MCP client, and I've often like combined Tavily with something else. Like I've been like, okay, Tavily, you go search the web, but I want maybe like a memory extension on or the computer controller extension on. So it'll like open this file for me while Tavily is doing the research. So it really does make things flow better. And I'm curious for you, have you found any LLMs that perform best with Tavily? Another
So
I didn't plan for
no. It's a good question. It's very much dependent on your use case. And one of the good things about Tavily is that we're not like sticking you to any sort of LLM. It's model agnostic. So you can use whatever LLM you want with Tavily. And that's one of the benefits of using Tavily. And so, yeah, again, it depends on the use case you're using. If you want low latency, maybe with a little less accuracy, so faster results. There's the Grok models that are specifically made for fast inference. And then there's larger models like Gemini that have 1 million token context windows where, you can feed it 30 search results with all of their raw content and, try to get a good answer out of it. So it's all dependent on the use case. And again, it's one of the good things about Tavily is you can use any model with it.
Awesome. Thank you. And that just came to mind because as I've been using Goose or as we came out with this agent, I realized how different LLMs behave with different things. Okay, these questions you did prepare for. I think you spoke on it a little bit, but how does Tavily like filter out unreliable sources or information?
Yeah, so I mean, it's I guess so. I can start with unreliable sources. So I talked about our relevancy score. So we return a relevancy score, which is a result of a re-rank. And so that's an attempt, or not an attempt. It does filter out unreliable sources. So we're only providing you with the most relevant sources to your query. And yeah, and then, sorry, what was the other part of the question?
It was just like, how does it, like you said, relevant sources. I was saying, how does it take out unreliable sources and maybe like misinformation as well? But yeah.
Yeah. So I touched on the unrelevant sources. The misinformation's it's one of the biggest issues we're seeing in the 20th century right now. So it's a very hard issue. There are companies that all they do is combat misinformation. We try to mitigate misinformation sort of through like law of large numbers. If you retrieve 20, 40 search results, this is sort of like an attempt to, tip the scale to the side of truth. So the more results you return, you feed those results to an LLM or an agent. If there happens to be one or two misinformation, we're tipping the scale more towards the side of truth, and hopefully the LLM can respond with a truthful answer.
Interesting. I like that approach. And I never even like consider that as a thing that people will be doing.
Yeah.
And then how does it get real-time updates and like while keeping, well, you did talk about the re-ranking for relevancy, but how is it like retrieving real-time updates?
Yeah, so Tavily will always return the most up-to-date results. So in addition to the live web search that we conduct, we also cache user searches and results. So this is something that we, pride ourselves in doing. We dynamically update our cache to ensure that the information is always up to date. We analyze changes in the data and intelligently update our cache. And so we sort of view this as one of our biggest strengths and advantages because as we get more volume, so as our tool grows and more people use it, the more volume we get and our results will become exponentially better. And the only way to fulfill like the internet at scale with millions of users and to be able to provide low latency results is to use an intelligent caching system. So in addition to our live web search, we also cache results, and combining the two, we always provide the most up-to-date results.
Awesome. That's good to learn about. Okay, so y'all, I'm gonna play a little quiz for the audience to interact with, and it's just gonna kind of go over some of what we already learned, and then after that, we'll talk about knowledge graphs and dive into your demo, which I think is a pretty cool demo. I'm excited for it. All right, go ahead and press play. All right, y'all. I didn't see nobody interacting with the quiz. I did put maybe some unfamiliar questions. I often repeat them, but y'all try it out. Maybe in the Discord, and I didn't check. All right. So now we're gonna talk about knowledge graphs. This is another like trending thing in AI at the moment. And you actually wrote a blog post about building a knowledge graph assistant combining Tavily and Neo4j MCP servers with Claude. I want to talk about it, and I also want to note that it's probably also possible to do with Goose instead of just with Claude, because Goose is also an MCP client. But I want to talk about this. So for folks who don't know what a knowledge graph is, let us know, what is that?
So a knowledge graph, it uses graph structures. So that is like there are nodes, relationships, and properties that sort of consists of the graph. And this is like in contrast to traditional tabular data. So like, for example, in the demo, or not the article I wrote, there's like a CEO of Google. He is a node in the graph. And there's another node, let's say Stanford, and they're connected by the relationship studied at. So knowledge graphs are a great way of handling complex relationships and interacting with that data. They use like different query languages. It's called Cypher. And so it's a little different than your normal relational database or tabular data.
Cool. So that makes sense. I'm curious, why combine your Tavily's real-time search with this type of data representation?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of information on the internet that could have very complex relationships, like the example I did in the article. So the example was, researching the Google's structure, like the CEO, who's the company. So doing company research. Every employee is related to employees in different ways. They all have went to different universities. Maybe some went to the same. So that they all share very complex relationships. So being able to combine search with a knowledge graph can sometimes be a better way of storing the retrieved information than your standard relational databases.
Perfect. Thanks for answering that. And I'm actually curious, do you have any like challenges combining Tavily with Neo4j and Claude? Like, what little hiccups did you come across that you learned from?
I mean, I said earlier, like one of the good things about MCPs is that it's quite easy to integrate. So I didn't run into too many issues. If you are new with Neo4j, it could be a little hard to, understand how to query the graph or initially set up the graph. So that could be something a little difficult if you're trying it on your own for the first time. But generally, it's quite an easy process.
Okay, big brain energy. Like, everything's easy. All right. So I'm gonna quickly show like a knowledge graph video with Goose. And then we're gonna see your demo. So I guess behind the scenes, get yourself ready, Dustin.
Perfect.
All right. Let's play.
Want Goose to scan your code for security vulnerabilities? Here's how to plug and play. Let's provide Goose with the commands it needs to connect to the Knowledge Graph memory extension. First, we're going to build security intelligence into Goose. So things like SQL injection is linked to data theft risk, and authentication weakness are associated with poor session management. Now, Goose isn't just storing this information, it's actively structuring it into a knowledge graph, understanding these security risks, and recognizing the best ways to mitigate them. Now that Goose has this knowledge, let's put it to work. Hey Goose, review this API endpoint for any security issues and any security risks. Goose is amazing. Goose has analyzed the security risk, searched its knowledge graph for patterns, and suggested a more secure implementation. To get started with Goose, visit block.github.io/Goose.
Cool. Let's get into the demo. Dustin, I'm excited to see what you're gonna build.
All right, so today I'm going to show a marketing agent, and we are combining 2 or 3 different MCP tools. So Tavily, we have both our extract tool and search tool. And then we're also going to use EverArt's generate image MCP tool. So this is a generative image model, and it's going to create some marketing material for us. And the goal, so here, we are asking Claude to develop a comprehensive marketing campaign to promote Block's AI agent Goose. And then we want it to complete the following steps to ensure the marketing campaign is relevant and creative. So first, it's going to conduct some research on the company to get some information. And with that information, it's going to create a marketing campaign with some material. So it's going to create sort of a nice eye-catching image of the Goose AI agent, an infographic, and then it's also going to create a web landing page. So when I hit start here, Claude will have access to all of our agents, all of the MCP tools, and it's going to act as an agent and determine what it needs to use to complete this task. So you can all explain as it runs, but if you have any questions, let me know. So you can see it executing now. So now it's just allowing, so I just allowed it access to complete a request to Tavily. So you can see the query it's conducted, as well as the results from Tavily. So you can see it's asking some more questions, trying to get some more specific information. You use search, then it use extract here actually. So it's looking at the GitHub page to extract information from there, and it used it again. Then you can see here, based on the research, it's found some knowledge about Goose. And then we move down. So it actually did, as we were talking, create an image. You can see this now. This is an image it created.
A robot Goose.
Yes. So that's one of the images it's created it. And then it also created a cool infographic here, which explains some of the features of Goose. So very good results here. They seem to be relevant and also pretty eye-catching. So this was all generated just from one prompt. It was able to do research and also generate these images. And then you can see right now it's generating a simple web landing page. So this is actually not using an MCP server. It's just using Claude 3.7's own capability.
Cool.
It's quite good at coding. So it's going to code us a little web page here, and it does take a little long because you'll see it's a pretty detailed web page, and we'll be able to see a little preview of it. So I guess while it's generating, do you have any questions of what just happened? It was quite fast.
No, I think this looks quite similar, at least to me, from like how like Goose will do stuff. I know it's probably doing some tool calls in the background. Oh, I think I see it.
Yeah, so let me zoom out a little. So now it's generating like a markdown just summary of the marketing campaign, but we can look at the web page. So this is the web page it made. I guess it's allowing for an image here, but some quite interactive, quality information it's putting on this web page for the marketing campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this just did it all, by itself without our input, and it created a little summary too, which, you can share around with whoever, and it did quite a good job.
Yeah.
Just in one go from one prompt. It gave us some good information.
I love how it pulled some of the like what users are saying, and it pulled like the features of Goose, that it's like extensible and fast as well, and all of that. So that was really cool for me to see.
For sure. And I can add some follow-up questions if you want. You can ask it to generate another image if you have any ideas.
Angie said she wished she could see this in Goose, which is more familiar to us.
Well, after this, we will put an integration with Goose on our GitHub so everyone can see that.
Yay! Awesome.
Yeah. So maybe we can ask it to generate a new logo for Goose. See what it does.
Let's see what happens. I like our logo, but let's see if AI can do a better one.
The Goose robot was quite cool, but maybe we'll see something better. So again, this is EverArt's MCP server, and it is available online to other people. Okay, I think I like your logo better, but it's a good attempt.
This is cute.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind it. I don't mind it. That's cute.
Yeah. At least it gives some good ideas, if people want to create their own new tools or websites. Yeah, so you can get some good stuff from this.
We gotta try this next time in Goose, definitely. Okay, so I want to show something, and I actually want to do a demo in Goose as well with Tavily, but I'm actually running into a problem live, and it's where I ran out of API credits for the resource. So I may need I don't know if we could do 5 minutes of help, and then we can see. Then
yeah, I can. Yeah. So do you want me to provide?
I'm gonna share my screen so that you can see what's happening, because I was ready for this demo, and while you were talking, I'm like, oh no, I ran out. So for me, I switched to the pay-as-you-go method. Let's see really quickly. I hope this is a quick solution. All right, you can see my screen, right? And okay, the API key is covered right now.
I was just gonna say.
Right now, I wanted to use the pay-as-you-go method. I turned that on. I put my payment on and everything. But when I add my API key, it still says it's.
Maybe just try to generate a new API key. So you see the plus button.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. While I was talking, I was like, how do I generate one? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And call it Goose demo, and then I'll stop sharing and see if we can show this working with Goose. Fingers crossed. Well, lately, not the Goose demo gods, the demo gods have not been with me. Okay, they need to help me out. Let's see. And I'm gonna close Goose again, just see if this adds anything to it. And I'll do a demo, and then we'll wrap for the live stream. I think that was I want to add, that was a really thoughtful live stream to add in different components of Goose, especially since you haven't tried Goose yet. But you should, Dustin. You definitely
I promise you a Goose integration in our GitHub by the end of the week.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. Okay, let's see if this adds it. I'm still getting an error. And that might mean perhaps it's not that I ran out. And what I'm going to do for future is I'm just going to record the demos. I love to see a live demo because I don't want it to look like, oh, this person made this up. Yeah. They forced it. But I'm going to do some backup demos in the future so that we make sure that, or at least I make sure that everything's always working. But what I was going to show is basically using Tavily to search for the top 5 most popular retailers, and then it will generate a comprehensive report very similar to yours on website updates, new product launches, and all that. And then it would create a HTML dashboard for me. So it's a similar experience, but the things that would be different, I guess I could show Goose here, let me share my screen. The things that would be different would be that you would add your extensions in the settings page, which we saw Ace do in our first video demo. And then you would turn on the Tavily extension, you would add your API key, and then in the chat area is where you would prompt it. But not sure why I'm not ready, but it's okay. The last few questions I had for you actually are just give us some details on how to try out Tavily, and I'll tell people how to try out Goose, and where to follow you as well, Dustin.
Sure. So yeah, I mentioned earlier there's many ways you can use Tavily. I guess the easiest way would be to visit our website. We have a playground that you can play around with Tavily, see what search filtering we provide, and get a very quick response to just see what we can do. If you want to go further, you can start to use our Python package, JavaScript package, or even MCP server to, start making your own agentic applications, connecting your agents to the web, getting relevant information. So I guess our website, as well as our GitHub, and there's plenty of other resources online that can show you, different ways you can use Tavily.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'll just share really quickly on the screen the Tavily tutorial if people did want to try this out on their own, since they didn't get a chance to see me do it. And I'll play the demo again just for people to see. But there is on our documentation site a Goose Tavily integration. It talks through how to install it. And we even have an example of like what type of prompt you can give it and try it out either in the CLI or the Goose desktop. Thank you so much, Dustin, for coming on and chatting with us. Do you have any last things you want to note for anyone?
No, I just encourage everyone to try us out, and we're constantly adding new features and making our product better. So yeah, keep trying us out, follow us on LinkedIn, and keep looking out for updates.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Want to use Goose to research up-to-date relevant information about a topic on the internet? Here's how to plug and play. Let's provide Goose with the commands to use the Tavily web search extension and your API key as an environment variable. Now let's play. Hey Goose, I'm getting ready for a meeting and I need to generate a report. Find the latest news, social media sentiment, and key developments about codename Goose in the past week using Tavily. Goose is able to gather the latest and comprehensive information by searching the news and the web to successfully generate our report for us. Thanks, Goose. Get started with Goose at blog.github.io/Goose.